Today, CBS News made history, taking you live from the new One World Observatory, 102 stories above the streets of New York City.
It opens to the public on May 29th, but CBS This Morning gave us a first look, and we are joined now by Charlie, Norah, and Gayle. Hi, everyone. How are you guys?
Boy, hey
Hi,
there.
Meg.
We
Hi,
had a great
Elaine.
time this morning. It was unusual to be so high and see New York in such a remarkable way.
You know, the tagline of this building is One World Trade Center, see forever, and that is exactly what you can do. You can see Philadelphia, you can see New Jersey. I won't even name all the places you can see, but just say the view here is spectacular. And they say, when you come to this building, look, take a look at that. They want you to feel uplifted metaphorically and literally, and that's exactly what happens here. It's gorgeous.
They say that on a clear day like today, you can see 50 miles away, all the way to Princeton, New Jersey. But I think this building, as Gayle said, is really symbolic in nature. I mean, it is a building of strength, but it's also about how New York and this country has bounced back after 9/11.
And on that point, Norah, oh, go ahead, Charlie.
No, you go ahead, please.
Well, I was going to say, on that point, you all had a chance to talk this morning with New York Mayor Bill de Blasio and Anderson Cooper about that, what that tower, what it means to the city. Let's go ahead and listen to that.
It's a rebirth. It's a rebirth. It means that, particularly for downtown, we're back 100%. Downtown is thriving right now. You know, great companies are coming down here to create their world headquarters. Big residential community here. Ironically, much more of a residential community than 20 years ago. And it's a great moment. It really says that we have turned a corner once and for all. And those that sought to attack us have lost once again.
You've lived in New York all your life.
I have.
What do you think it means to New Yorkers?
I think it's a cliche to say it's a rebirth, but I think it is a rebirth in many ways. And I think
That shot as we talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just extraordinary. The view from here is unlike any other that I've ever seen, and it really gives you a sense of the history of New York, of why New York, why Manhattan is where it is, the geography of it, and you really feel rooted in the history and often in New York, it's hard to get a sense of a place. You know, you don't see much sky, but here you see it all, and I mean, you literally see the curvature of the earth.
You know what is amazing?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Let me just make one point. What's amazing when you think about this building, no one is more proud than the men and women from the steel workers and other places who did this. They did it with such a sense of purpose that they knew what they were doing, they knew what it would mean, and their labor had so much for them.
And how about that elevator? We saw Anthony Mason give us a firsthand look at that. What was it like when you guys got on the elevator and went up?
Well, you know that video, it went viral, and so you can look at it, but it essentially is a virtual time lapse that recreates the development of New York City from the 1500s all the way up into today. So the first image you get is a very rural Manhattan, and then of course as the whole city rises up, and I think it's a beautiful image to just sort of see that. It's surreal being in the elevator. It takes just 47 seconds to rise to the 102nd floor where we are, and it's a beautiful sense of history.
Yeah, we're on the 102nd floor. They said it's 2,000 feet a minute, that you're going 23 miles an hour. But you sit there, when people say jaw-dropping moments, that really is what it's like in that elevator. And you learn so much in that 47 seconds that you make it to the top. I love what Charlie said about the workers who have worked here. There's a story of one guy whose dad worked on the Twin Towers, and he said now he worked on this building. It's sort of his duty, he said, to carry on the legacy. One construction worker said it's New York's middle finger. That's one way to go. Somebody else who works here, who's behind this organization, said it's a metaphoric fist pump, and I like that description.
Yeah, and
it is a metaphoric fist pump.
And you can see all that because there are some 25 hours of interviews when you first come in the door here, and you can hear the voices of the men and women that Charlie was talking about that helped build this incredible tower.
You can also see from this perspective the two rivers, the Hudson and the East River, and out to the Atlantic, and you see how much water meant to places like this who became such extraordinary metropolitan areas.
But the star of the show is the view. I can't say that enough. Even as someone who's scared of heights, you walk in this room and you can't believe, everywhere you look, there is something, a feast for the eyes. It's amazing. I would love to come back for dinner. They have a restaurant here, and Norah and Charlie and I said, date night, Charlie's Treat. Our first ever date night, Charlie's Treat.
Pleasure.
I want to put that on record.
You know, I have to ask about...
If my credit's good.
As I was watching the show this morning, I was also thinking, in addition to obviously the engineering feat that is that very building, there's also the technical feat of what you all were able to do just to get that broadcast together. Is there a
There's a lot
freight
of people
elevator?
behind the camera who deserve credit.
Yeah, I mean, tell us a little bit about that. Is there a freight elevator there? How does that work? How is the setup?
I'm sure there has to be freight elevators in a building like this in order to get things up.
Right,
Otherwise,
right.
they wouldn't have been able to get all these things up here.
But Anthony Mason showed us something very cool, that they have tablets here that are preloaded that you can aim out the window and hit a button and it'll zoom in on, say, Empire State Building.
United Nations.
United Nations, it'll show you the different things. I thought, he said that was one of the coolest things he saw. This is really such a visual experience. It's more than an elevator ride and a view. You learn a lot. It's a history lesson, too, when you come.
It puts New York in context.
It does.
Yeah, and Elaine, to your point, we're incredibly grateful to the producers and crew who spent months on this project, day in and day out, so that we at CBS News have the first look from One World Trade Tower, because I think it's a feast for the eyes.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Charlie Rose, Gayle
Thank you,
King,
guys.
and Norah O'Donnell at the One World Trade Observatory. And Elaine and I are free for dinner, too. Just putting that out there for you guys.
You can join us, Meg. Thank you.
All right.
He's a big spender. Come on.
That sounds great.
Bye,
Thank
you
you
guys.
all.